Feed podcast brought to you by Inside Feed, our very first podcast. And I'm sure we'll look back on this in a short little while and think, how fucking shit was that? But you've got to start somewhere in life, kids. So we're getting started now, right now. And our first 10 or 20 shows will be a bit like this, where we'll be zooming in some co-hosts or a co-host next week at least. And that's how we'll be getting started, just about like every other bloke in the world who has started a podcast in the last 3 or 5 years. So that's us. We're actually going to have two styles of shows. So the Feed podcast will be not so much centered around gambling and making money, although we will talk about that, but we'll do some rundown type things, which we'll call the Feed, where we'll just go through the world of sport, what's going on in the world, whether it's Tomic becoming a porn star, whether it's Queensland whipping New South Wales ass, whether it's Paul Gallen just not getting any bit of commentary right ever. So yeah, we'll talk about things like that, and we'll also have some guests on. So whether it's if anyone knows Nick Kyrgios, I would love to interview Nick Kyrgios. I'd love to play tennis with him. I reckon I could get a point off him. But Nick Kyrgios would be a good one. If anyone can sort of slide me into Donald Trump's DMs, that would be a good one right now. Like, pretty topical. And just not Paul Gallen, basically. So that's us. The other one will be the Inside Feed Punters Club podcast. If you're not the Inside Feed Punters Club on Facebook, then you're just missing free financial advice. It's like when the finance report comes on, I think just after sport on Channel 9 at 6 p.m. They give you a little bit of advice on what the market might do. It's free advice from some of the sharpest punting minds in the world. And what we're going to do with that podcast is we're going to mix up. We're going to ask our great friends at PlayUp potentially to get on board, which they are. And we're going to hand out $100, maybe hypothetically, each week to a new punter on the podcast. If that punter turns the money into something really nice, then they'll stay on the show. So we're going to start that. It'll be an opportunity for just your average bloke wearing high vis to come on here and to teach us how to punt on some horses responsibly, obviously. But that's what we'll do. So 2 separate podcasts. You might get 2 or 3 shows from us a week, depending on what's going on in the world and what we can drum up. But any podcast guests that have some stature in the community would be fantastic, especially the sporting community, naturally. So this week, no co-host this week, just myself, just to introduce what we're going to be doing. As I said, I'm sure this is episode 1 of hopefully thousands that we can produce in our lifetime. And right now, it's all about state of origin. So, Cameron Munster, he's probably drunk right now with Harry Grant. They were so dominant last night. Cameron Munster right now, let me tell you, is the best player in rugby league, and it's daylight second. It's Cameron Munster, big gap, huge gap. Second is someone else. He is phenomenal, and he loves the piss. He is at GOAT status. It's not it. There's not even a conversation to be had. He is so good at football. I think he's already got 2 premierships. Probably 26 years of age, I think he is. He's probably got 9 years still left in the maroon jersey, as well as probably the Storm jersey. This guy is going to be, he already is, but he's going to be phenomenal. He was brilliant. He didn't, well, I suppose he carried Queensland. That try before half-time was ridiculous. But Edric Lee on debut, sensational. I was one of the ones who thought he was probably out of his depth. He showed up. Felice Kafusi in defence was immense. Low chop tackles all night long. Harry Grant, as I said, wonderful. And just quite achievers. Christian Welsh, I thought, was sensational. And Big Tino, not going to have a crack at his last name, but Tino was outstanding too. Wayne Bennett, the mastermind. Fuck you, Paul Gallen. What a win for Queensland. And hopefully next year, I'm hoping next year it's Wayne Bennett coaching, Freddie's gone, and Craig Bellamy comes in, and it's just an absolute coach-off. Not a cook-off, a coach-off. That's what I'm hoping for next year. For this weekend, a lot of the sport is done. All the NRL's finished, obviously. That was the last game of the year. AFL's done. Richmond get another premiership. The Spring Racing Carnival's done. The Masters Golf is over. We're winding down. It's like cricket. Could you hurry the fuck up? And it's not too far away. But this weekend we've got the Wallabies we've got the Wallabies, and we've got a bit of racing. So for a quick look at that and to find you some winners, here's what I've done. I think this week, I just looked at the Wallabies side. They've made a couple of changes. I think Slipper's out with injury and Swinton's obviously suspended for that non-high shot. And there might be one other change, which escapes my mind. What I do like is that Resolge is still at 10, because I think this is going to be a fair arm wrestle. And I think there's going to be a lot of goal kicking involved. And I think that some long range goal kicking from Resolge will be very valuable here. And he controlled the game quite well against the All Blacks. So both these teams are coming off wins against the All Blacks. That's pretty rare. And I think the Wallabies will get the job done. On play-up right now, they're $1.50, which is pretty fucking short. So I'll be taking the 1 to 12 because I think it's going to be tight. At $2.50, I think that's a good bet. I think the Wallabies will win, but the Pumas, you can't dismiss what they did last week. They have unrivaled passion for the jersey. You can see it in the emotion on their face. It's really good to watch. And they'll have to show up this week against the Wallabies and vice versa. It's going to be a cracking game. Really looking forward to it. And I believe it could be the Wallabies' last game of the year. That could be wrong. Don't take that as fact. I'm not sure, but I think that's right. Apart from that, it's pretty much just spring, the end of spring racing. The carnival's actually over. They go to Perth for the feature racing, and we've had one of our really prominent rising young racing journalists do a little feature on that which will hit the website on Friday. So look out for that for the Railway Stakes. I've had a look at the Eastern Seaboard, and they've sort of gone away from metro racing. So I think we're at Ballarat and Kembla Grange and Sunny Coast. But there's still winners to be found. So that's what I've done. I've got a little multi for you, just as a little treat on the first podcast. And I will say that last night we did call, and I don't want to boast and gloat and do all those things, but we did call that Queensland would win 20-14. Yes, it's probably the first real tip that we've tipped in, or tip that we've got right in quite some months. But momentum is a wonderful thing. And we're going to take that and we're going to ride it into this week. And there's 3 bets. Ballarat race 7. I really like Right You Are, which I backed at Flemington like everyone else in Australia last week, and it warmed up so fucking late that it almost got it, but almost won, but just missed. Mark Zara goes on. Ollie's off. They've given Damien Oliver the boot. Barrier 4 looks a very good bet. I think it's about $2.70 on play up. Should be winning, hopefully. The next one is Kembla Grange race 7. So Ballarat race 7, Kembla Grange race 7. One that comes back from Flemington, back up to its home state. That's Purple Sector. How did it win at Flemington last week or 2 weeks ago? I still don't know. It was on the side. He was hanging. He was bloody in traffic. And then just on the line, he just poked his nose out. I think it was Craig Williams, got him home. This week, drawn well. Rachel King, who's riding really well, goes on. Low draw. I think there's already been some money for it. I think he's into about $4.80 on play up. Good bet and should be winning, or again on a good wide open track at Kembla, I think he'll get his chance. And I think he's in some pretty good form. He's a good horse. 1,600 metres, might be a fraction short, but we'll back him. And the best bet of the day. So last week we thought Nicanova was the best of the day, and fucking Nicanova ran home well. Never looked likely. The thing that beat it broke the track record. Jonker, very good win. Stay with that one. Nicanova actually goes around again this week over 1,600 metres, so it gets another 400 metres. Not in a chance, no hope in hell would I tip it as the best bet, but I probably will have a bit each way on it. Every horse that I've been tipping as my best wins the next start. That's what's been happening. So I can't not let it go around without a bit of my hard earned on it. But the best of the weekend, race 2. Sunshine Coast, Star of Michelin, the top weight. So third up, undefeated third up. Not great stats at the Sunny Coast, which surprises me because you rattles home from the back. So I thought the wide open track would be really suited to it. So we're going to just not worry about that. $5.50 gets the apprentice on. So in terms of weights, it's actually weighted pretty well in this race. For the claim, with the claim. So backing Star of Michelin, it rattled home last start at Doomben. You can watch that on the website in my weekly article saying that this thing will win. We're about 2 from 8, so we're going really well there. But Star of Michelin to be winning on Saturday, nice and early, race 2, Sunshine Coast. And if you take that multi of Ballarat race 7, Right You Are, Kembla Grange race 7, Purple Sector, and Star of Michelin the rest of the day in race 2 at Sunny Coast. It pays about $72. So that's what we'll be doing. That's it for today. That's our first show down. Next week, we'll have a co-host and we'll be launching the Inside Feed Punters Club podcast as well, which will be opportunity for people to come on and pass on their wisdom on all things racing and sport if they so please. So if you haven't subscribed to our podcast, which I haven't even because they're only brand new, then check that out somehow. I'm sure there's a way of subscribing. I don't actually know how, but I'm sure there's just a button that says subscribe and you just hit the button, but we'll work that out. And obviously jump on our website, insidefeed.com.au, and follow us on Instagram and TikTok and Facebook and all those things as well. Plenty more content to come. Looking forward to it all. And shout out Fat Pixie. If you haven't had a Fat Pixie ginger beer, then you just haven't lived.